Ooh, I do look a little spooky. What did you ask me?
That's not me.
Yes.
Are you a zombie? Did you die?
No. Do you want to die? Oh my God. Yeah, it's actually wrong that only I get to look at you. Okay, but stop.
It's big enough.
Let go, koala. Let go, koala. It's now the koala has turned into a demented archangel. I bet you like this video now, don't you? Don't you? I had to wait an hour for him to relinquish the phone. Okay. Enough already. Hi. I'm not trying to look like a zombie. I just put on some mascara and I knew it would smudge, so I tried to smudge it as artistically as possible. Hey, Mia. Mia. Sweetie, you want to come with Mommy? I'm going to go make a video. Uh-oh. I think she's dreaming about chasing mice. So, we'll be right back. Oh, hi there. Welcome to the Princeton Street house. Pretend you're not 51, dude. Hi. We are normally never alone here. And recently we've been very not alone because we had a guest who was in the dining room all the time. And enough said about that. We all mean well. So anyway, this is a very clickbaity outfit. But I like dressing this way. So, hey. Clickbaity shoes. Whoops, got my little boots. These boots are essentially just like rubber bags for your feet. It's gross. But my mom was like, let me buy you shoes. And she blew $200 on the worst shoes that ever graced or disgraced God. They look nice. That's the thing. You know. Oh, so anyway, I got my Black Widow roots. We're here at the Princeton Street house where we rent out rooms. And this is one of 3 properties. And there's this nice thing. You see the problem with, I can't just go back and forth. See these letters? So that's the only way I can tell. Oh, that's kind of nice. That's the only way I can tell what's on the screen is I have to look. These are the letters that some people leave on actual paper, written in actual, I'm trembling. I'm a kind of a tremulous person. That's why I have a lot of vibrato in my voice. So this one is particularly nice because he says, you are the perfect host with the eye of an artist. That's really nice. And you know, at first when I read that, I was like, I don't really see that. And then, especially the Cole Street house down the street, actually the art on the wall at this point is as beautiful over there. There's a Klimt. That's awesome. This is a beautiful lamp. My late husband and I used to have a mica lamp. He had, for a macho alpha male, as the only men who can hang with me are, for some reason. My best friend is because I'm sort of a drama queen, whatever that is. Anyway, see how beautiful this lamp is? It's not mica, but it's got the same amber and gold look. Pretty, huh? Once again, I can't tell what I'm looking at unless I stick myself on the frame. Although I am tired of being in the frame. You know why? Look at that. Oh, that's embarrassing. My cousin and I both have a bad crown, and it's my manipulative dentist. She wanted me to. Anyway, believe it or not, we're here today to talk about that's an interesting background. I'm not a big fan of blue, but dark blue is cool. But I was thinking we would do the daffodils. Yeah. It's too bad you can't use a filter. Well, you can use a filter with this. Because, again, blue, you know, I'm just not medium blue is like my least favorite color. Oh, I wonder what happens if we do this. So we're actually, believe it or not, this is a Neologisms video. This is going to be, oh, yes. Welcome to Masterpiece Library. I actually have a personal library. I'm a little girl who grew up on welfare, and I have a personal library, which just means that I've curated my books. What I did for a while is instead of buying whatever occurred to me on Amazon and paying a lot of money and then never reading it, I would get all my books from the library. And once I was so far into a book that it was clear I was absolutely going to finish it, then I would decide that belonged in my personal library. And then I would go out and look for it at a used independent bookstore. And then something really bad happened in my family that separated me from the only one of my husband's children of an age that I could think of myself as her stepmom. And so I was a complete mess. But doing that project kind of kept me grounded. Anyway, well, it was also when I discovered that a certain medication that only I and my doctor approved of me taking was the perfect remedy for pain, because I was in so much psychic pain, and then my sciatica kicked in, and I was just like, not to be co-opting a stereotype, but was like, oh no, I'm not even going to be in psychic and physical pain. So anyway, okay, neologisms. So my sweetie, who I think invaded the video at the beginning, right? We were talking about some of his parenting issues, because he's a parent, and what constitutes spoiling your kids and not. And I realized that something that happened that I thought was maybe kind of spoiling, it really wasn't, because there was a dialogue around it, like, no, you can't have the super expensive unicorn. No, you can't. And then, like a month and a half later, under the Christmas tree, which is a lot better than just, okay, put it in the grocery cart. It was like a Whole Foods unicorn. So anyway, and then we started talking about how supposedly poor people raise their kids differently than rich people. And I picked up on what he was implying is that upper middle class and rich people inculcate delayed gratification, and poor people inculcate lack thereof. And I said, well, I'm not sure how to think about that. My grandparents were all, to varying degrees, middle class. It's kind of a tapestry of straight up blue collar, but then blue collar who went on to be the owner of the company. My mom's father dropped out of high school as the oldest of 9 Italian kids and became a bricklayer and ended up being the owner of his own company and supposedly helped build the Brooklyn Bridge. My dad's dad went to join the Marines. I don't know if he went to college. He worked for the Veterans Administration, which is not blue collar, but not exactly. It's not like being a lawyer or a doctor. It's not an educated professional, whatever. And then my uncles were a myriad of things, and you would have to say my parents grew up in. I grew up in literally the underclass, as in marijuana, as in hard drugs, as in intravenous drugs, blah blah. So I once, in the middle of an argument with my sweetie, said, actually, I've been much more upwardly mobile than you. You're in the exact same class that you were born in. I am like 3 classes above, or something, which I don't really care about that kind of thing, but I was just trying to win the argument. I was tired of him pummeling me with his meritocracy. We disagree about what that word means. So he said, well, I got to respect what you did. And I was like, oh. I mean, I feel that he respects me. And I remember one time early on, he said something like, you have more integrity as an artist and a person than I do. And I was like, wow, that's lovely, And that was just as our relationship was shifting from friend to, wow, maybe special friend. I feel specially appreciated by this person, to, oh, he knows everything there is to know about Shakespeare. Oh my God, and he also knows Eddie Izzard. Well, forget it. I'm done for. This is, I'm in love now, kind of, or I'm going to be in love with this person like very soon. Anyway, so, but when he said, I have to respect what you did, I was like, what did I do? I didn't raise any kids and teach them any, delayed gratification or whatever. Did I display delayed gratification? I was thinking, I wonder if there's an experiment where we can see if I would pass the marshmallow test, where if you wait, you get 2 marshmallows instead of 1 marshmallow. There's a version of that in a movie where it's the stale donuts versus new donuts. And I kind of think I would eat the stale donut, but I want them both. Anyway, and he said, well, this is a little hard for me. He said, you became you created a career for yourself you invented a career for yourself as a trophy wife. And I said, as a trophy wife, that's the word I'm having a hard time saying. And I said, oh, no. I didn't want that. I didn't want that. And he said, well, I didn't want what I did either. I didn't want to be a solopreneur. I wanted to find a job, but I had just invented. And I was like, well, that's true. I found myself in a certain situation and I made the best of it. And they said, well, no, because actually, I never said, oh, turns out I'm a trophy wife. I guess I'll be a good one. I just said, oh, you want me to go with you to Paris? Oh, that's exciting. Oh, you're going to meet your agent? Oh, great. I've never met an agent. Yeah, well, since I'm your editor, I'd really like to participate in the meetings. And we're going to go out with some friends for dinner? Well, okay. Well, I'll just, I guess kind of be myself and try to put my best foot forward. So, I guess we'll talk about how I'm your editor and I'm helping you write the book, and then da, right? But see, that's what my sweetie, we're kind of uncertain whether the title fiance fits, but I like the idea of eternal fiance. That means we would never even bother tying the knot legally. which is kind of a privilege. For most people in a lot of demographics, if the person you're with doesn't marry you, that means they're not serious about you. Whereas one of the most solid couples I know that raised a beautiful daughter together, never got married, would have been a second marriage for both of them. And it's just kind of basically like, they're both so well-educated, mature, and whatever, that it was never even needed. The commitment is clear. But, for other people who it's their first time and younger, anyway. So then I kind of thought, I've kind of let you redefine this idea of trophy wife, but I'm not sure if that term really applies to me. I know that you were kind of romanticizing it as, he has romanticized it into like, a woman who loves her husband and he loves her, but she happens to be young and attractive. I'm 51 now. I was 25 when my husband was 59, but he didn't look 59, and he had way more energy than me, frankly. Like, absolutely, that is not a joke. He pushed me up a mountain many times. Not like, but like, hiking, Round Mountain in Mendocino, which I was struggling to climb. And he was not struggling. But I didn't really look my age either. So like when I was 35 and he was 69, I looked younger and he looked younger. So we always looked about 34 years difference. And it's challenging. And especially for a while, it was everybody's favorite joke about trophy wives and how they're just waiting for their husbands to die and, terrible stuff. And I had just thought that, well, I don't look, I've got this and I've got the kind of intelligent high forehead and the aristocratic European cheekbones and blah, blah. But it turns out it's just, they just think you're a European trophy wife or a smart one or something. So I kind of annoyed my sweetie because I wanted to use his DuckDuckGo. He won't use Google my phone happened to be missing or something, to look up the definition of trophy wife. And sure enough, it was always either neutral or quite negative. And he felt invalidated by that. And I was like, well, I think instead of feeling invalidated, why don't you think that actually you came up with a better concept than this concept? And he said, well, you're letting artificial intelligence define it for you. And I said, I knew that's probably the definition I would find because I live in organic intelligence in society. And this is how people use this term, But I said, but I did independently think at some point that maybe like I had a fantasy he would tell his dad about me at lunch. I'm talking fast because I'm using up a lot of minutes. And I said, it'll be a 15-second video. And then I said, no, it's not. And that maybe his dad would say, well, that's like a super trophy wife, like the woman who actually edits the books and helps write them and then like looks good and younger and, so I was discussing it with him and I said, you should write a little essay called like the super trophy wife or something. And it would be like an actual asset wife, a woman who really cares for her husband and makes contributions and has a career of her own. Like I have a career as a writer and now a content creator to the best of my ability, but also, understands that the woman behind the man thing and does it as honorably and as well as she can. And then I thought, also you could say, other terms might apply like the asset wife or go away, polar bear, or May December power couple. And in terms of the asset wife, the prime example that I thought of is, that would get me that would get my whole account deleted. He's trying to show me La Luna de Miel. Did you say Martha Lee, sweetie? Stan Lee's wife? Joan, thank you. Joan Lee, British lady, was Stan Lee's wife. Now, Lee wasn't his real name, but he wasn't he was saving his real, more German-Jewish, I think German-Jewish sounding name because he wanted to write serious novels. And so she must have at some point changed her name, so she changed her name to match his. And I don't think she had a job other than his. I don't know. But not long ago, the great Stan Lee has passed away. And no disrespect to Jack Kirby, but I don't see any evidence that he helped build the empire. So, but it just occurred to me that she, in a crucial way, did. Because, okay, here's what I mean by an asset wife. He was ready to quit. He hated it. He couldn't stand it anymore. He was sick of it. And she said, well, if you're ready to quit, then you've got nothing to lose. So why don't you just do exactly what you always wanted to do? Write the comics, with all that complexity that you've always wanted to put in your novels. You've already got the comics going. You already got a career. You've got a great career. And just do whatever you want. And if it doesn't work, screw it. You're done anyway. You got nothing to lose. And he did. And out of that came all of Marvel Comics. Spider-Man, Iron Man, the Avengers, Captain America, Ms. Marvel, now Captain Marvel, the Fantastic, all of it. And now the MCU. Imagine the world, I mean, if you're not into the MCU, you wouldn't care, but imagine the world without Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. It's a different world, you know. He was perfect for that role in a certain way. He took it in a more Enneagram type 7 direction, but, I mean, very similar looks. He made that role his own. Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. And it doesn't matter that Stan didn't create all of these characters. He was clearly a creative force. He would stand up on a table and like act out the stuff with his staff. Anyway, but it just dawned on me, if she hadn't given him that advice, he might have just written some novels that nobody ever read, you know, as so many talented people have. But instead, he became Stan Lee, and we have all of Marvel Comics and all of the MCU, and now we have, you know, Zack Snyder and Peggy Jenkins and John Wah something, I don't know, director of Aquaman, doing their best to live up to what the MCU has done, and with their own twist of darker and, you know, but not Peggy Jenkins isn't darker at all. But it turns out my sweetie looks kind of like Danny Houston, the brother of who's in Wonder Woman, brother of Angelica and son of John. Anyway, so asset wife, May December power couple, or super trophy wife, which means not just somebody who doesn't do anything much with her own life and spends all of her time fussing with her appearance. You can see exactly how much time I spend fussing with mine, like pretty much zilch. I mean, you know, I try to look okay, and I try to keep my hair brushed, and I try to wash it a few times a month. No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, that's the stereotype. It's just all about her looks. That's what she maintains. That's what she's there to be. But what if it's not that, you know? And in a lot of ways, he was an asset to me, too, you know? I mean, I couldn't say to most people, well, you know, my husband is Claude Steiner, because people in the world of literature don't really know who that is. But it's, you know, there's a glow that reflects, you know, when you have a husband who is in a niche way famous. So, but then I was also thinking about, I told my sweetie something I did once. I forget what, something kind of, oh, yeah, that I got my first back massager as a study aid. and it's not, back massagers aren't really back massagers by and large. And I went all the way to San Francisco for Berkeley to get it, because the first time I was motivated to buy one of those devices, Vibromasseur, is because I thought I needed to study for just like days on end without stop. And I thought that would keep me in bed reading my books and studying. Because we were talking about how once upon a time I had just like, you know, canyons of books in my bedroom. And I was thinking about that, and I thought, you know what I am? I'm a crypto dynamo, by which I meant, you know, I'm unemployed, but I like to think of myself as an unemployed workaholic. But people outside, you know, people who don't know me well don't know that. Even people who know me kind of well don't necessarily know that. I think that side of me is just starting to emerge in a way that people are going, oh, and the YouTube channel is a big part of that. Because when you're in the fine arts, you know, if you get it together to submit, you know, every 2 months, that's actually kind of frequent, you know, because there's a lot of preparation that goes into it. And people don't know you're doing that, so they think you're just doing nothing. I remember a friend of mine said, oh, you know, when you finally make it, then people will be like, oh, that was her job. She had a job all along. Oh my God, there's a popsicle somewhere melting. Anyway, okay. So what are our neologisms for today? Super trophy wife, asset wife, May December power couple, as exemplified, I think, by, let's say, Michael Douglas and his wife, Catherine Zeta-Jones, or as my late husband used to call her, Zeta-Jones, because that means, you know, in Europe, if a woman's famously sexy and notoriously sexy, they call her by her last name, as if she's like a man-eater. But there's no indication that Zeta-Jones is that. Carla Bruni was, but isn't anymore. If you think Catherine Zeta-Jones is just a trophy wife, I've heard that when she was in rehearsal for Cabaret, that she was just such a committed song and dance performer that they had to ice her thighs all the time, and she would be throwing back her head laughing and saying, bring the ice, because her inner thighs were just bruised. I mean, that's hard work. People don't realize how hard performers work. It's hard. It's long hours. If you're in a TV show, you work all day. Anyway. So, super trophy wife means substance. Asset wife means regardless of her age, because Joan Lee was no younger than Stanley, as far as I know. And she had a temper boy. She destroyed one of his heirloom typewriters that he created some of his most famous characters on, an antique typewriter. But asset wife means somebody who really contributes a great deal, maybe even crucially, maybe even the best idea that the husband ever had was really hers. A lot of my late husband's best ideas were one of his girlfriends. I think if I hadn't come along, she would have been the great love of his life. But apparently I was, so that's a privilege that I have, and all the confusion that goes with it, because last several years were hard out of the 22. Anyway, and so I said May, December, power couple. We've already talked a little bit about Unemployed Workaholic. And now I'm going to add to that Crypto Dynamo, which is if people think you're just hanging out, watching YouTube, maybe drinking too much, and have a messy apartment, not getting much done, and they don't realize that you're actually incredibly kind of tenacious and driven creatively. So now if I press the wrong button here, I will destroy this video. So how do I not do that? I think I'll press pause first and then we'll see what happens. Should we go back to the daffodils? I don't know. Why not? Bye. Bye. I have had limited screen time for so long and not known. I've been flying blind for so long. It's nice to not be flying blind. Okay. Bye.